The 2002 Spider-Man movie gave us one of the most tense moments in superhero history. On a rainy rooftop, the Green Goblin didn't just try to kill Spider-Man, he offered him a job. He told Peter Parker that the people he saved would eventually hate him and asked him to join forces to create something incredible. In the movie, Peter spat in his face. But we are exploring a different path. We are asking what would happen if Peter, tired of being broke and disrespected, actually took the Goblin's hand. This single decision would turn the friendly neighborhood hero into New York's greatest nightmare. Rain pours down on the metal suit of the Green Goblin as he extends a hand and waits for an answer. Peter Parker stands opposite him, bruised and bleeding. In our timeline, Peter remembers Uncle Ben's words about responsibility. But here, he remembers something else. He recalls the landlord demanding rent he doesn't have, and his boss, J. Jonah Jameson, calling him a criminal regardless of his actions. The exhaustion hits him all at once. Peter looks at the Goblin's hand and realizes that fighting alone is a losing game. He steps forward and takes the hand. The lightning flashes to seal a partnership that spells doom for the Marvel Universe. The news reports remain quiet the next morning, with no battle damage or bodies found. Instead, Peter wakes up in a luxury penthouse paid for by an anonymous donor. Norman Osborn becomes more than a villain to Peter. He becomes the father figure Peter desperately needed. Norman explains his vision, where they won't just stop crime, but will control it. He teaches Peter that true order requires force. Peter is still young and impressionable, so he starts to believe it. He wonders why he should catch a purse snatcher when he can take down the entire mob. The logic seduces him. Peter trades his moral compass for efficiency and convinces himself he is doing this for the greater good. Oscorp resources change everything. The homemade red and blue suit is gone, replaced by a suit made of military-grade Kevlar and Oscorp flight plating presented by Norman. It is sleek, dark, and terrifying, with eyes that glow a menacing green. It has retractable gliders and bomb dispensers while keeping the web shooters. This is the Emerald Spider. When this new Spider-Man swings through New York, people freeze instead of cheering. The friendly neighbor is dead. This new vigilante moves with the silence of a predator and strikes with the brutality of a soldier. The city notices the change immediately because criminals don't get webbed up for the police anymore. They simply disappear. The first major test of this alliance comes when the Sinister Six try to form. In the original timeline, Spider-Man fights them one by one while often holding back. Now he has the Green Goblin watching his back. Doc Ock doesn't get a chance to monologue before the Emerald Spider and the Goblin strike the hideout with overwhelming force. There are no quips or jokes as they dismantle the villains with surgical precision. The public sees the results when crime drops to near zero overnight. People are terrified but safe. J. Jonah Jameson is confused because he called Spider-Man a menace for years, but now that Spider-Man is actually brutal, the crime rates are down. The Daily Bugle runs the headline asking if these are the heroes they deserve. We chose this dark timeline because of a comment from one of you. A huge thank you goes to everyone who leaves ideas in the comments, because this video wouldn't exist without you. If you have another crazy scenario you want to see, write it down below right now. We pick the most liked comments for future scripts. If you're enjoying this story, please hit like and subscribe to help us out. Now let's see how Harry Osborn reacts to his best friend joining his father. Harry Osborn becomes the tragedy of this story as he watches his father spending every waking hour with Peter. He sees them whispering in the study and planning projects for Oscorp. Harry has no idea they are the Goblin and the Spider, only that he is being replaced. The jealousy rots him from the inside until he starts drinking and spiraling into depression. He tries to confront Peter by asking why he is suddenly Norman's favorite son. Peter, corrupted by power and arrogance, dismisses Harry and tells him to grow up. This breaks something in Harry. The best friend bond is severed by cold indifference rather than death. Harry begins looking around the mansion for answers. We get a twisted version of the famous Thanksgiving dinner scene where Aunt May, MJ, Peter, and Norman are at the table. This time there is no secret tension between Peter and Norman because they share knowing looks as a team. The tension comes from MJ because she notices Peter has changed. He is colder, more aggressive, wears expensive suits, and talks about population control. MJ tries to reach the old Peter from Queens, but he is gone. Norman dominates the conversation by praising Peter's evolution. Aunt May looks between them in terror. She senses the darkness in her nephew but can't put a name to it. The dinner ends with MJ leaving in tears because she senses she has lost him to the Osborn world. Harry finally finds the secret lair behind the fireplace, but the result is a nightmare. He expects to find just the Goblin equipment, but instead finds the Emerald Spider suit hanging next to his father's armor. He watches security footage of them training together and realizes his father is the Green Goblin, while his best friend is Spider-Man. They are the monsters terrorizing the city. Harry doesn't get angry. He goes quiet because the betrayal is total. He realizes he is the only person who can stop them. He avoids the Goblin serum and goes to the police. However, in a city owned by Oscorp, the police don't listen to a rich kid ranting about his dad. Norman Osborn is never satisfied because controlling the underworld isn't enough. He wants to reshape society. He tells Peter that to truly save the city, they need to remove the weakness that holds it back. He demands they execute the city's corrupt politicians publicly. This is the moment Peter hesitates. Beating up criminals is one thing, but political assassination is another. The Goblin sees this hesitation as a flaw and realizes the Spider is still too human. To fix this, Norman decides he needs to sever Peter's last tie to his humanity. He targets the one person who still looks at Peter with hope, Mary Jane Watson. The Goblin decides she has to die for the Spider to fully rise. Norman kidnaps MJ and takes her to the Queensboro Bridge, where Gwen Stacy died in the comics. He calls Peter to tell him it is time to graduate. Peter arrives in his emerald suit to find Norman holding MJ over the edge. But unlike the movie, Norman doesn't ask Peter to save her. He asks Peter to drop her. He tells Peter that love is a weakness, and dropping her will free him from pain forever. MJ looks at Peter and pleads with her eyes. She sees the mask, but knows it's him. Peter stands on the glider for a long minute, considering it. The Goblin serum in his veins screams at him to do it, while the silence on the bridge becomes deafening. A missile strikes the Goblin's glider before Peter can make his choice. It's Harry. He has stolen a prototype glider and a bag of pumpkin bombs. He isn't wearing a mask and is crying while screaming at his father and best friend. Harry tackles the Goblin in midair. The chaos snaps Peter out of his trance, and he catches MJ as she falls before webbing her to safety. But the battle above is brutal. Norman is stronger and more experienced. He doesn't see Harry as his son anymore, just an obstacle. The Goblin impales Harry with his own glider blades. Harry falls and crashes onto the bridge pavement. Peter lands next to him and watches the life fade from his best friend's eyes. Harry's last words are simply that Peter picked him. Harry's death breaks the spell. Peter looks at the dead body of his best friend and then up at the cackling Green Goblin. Norman isn't sorry. He laughs and calls Harry weak, saying he was collateral damage for their glorious future. That is the moment the Peter Parker we know dies completely. He doesn't go back to being a hero or seek redemption. He gets angry. A pure and cold rage takes over. The Emerald Spider launches himself at the Goblin with a ferocity that makes their previous fights look like playground scuffles. Peter stops holding back his super strength as he rips the Goblin's armor apart with his bare hands. He beats Norman Osborn into the concrete of the bridge. Norman lies broken with his mask shattered and bloodied face grinning up at Peter. He wheezes that he made Peter and claims to be his father. In the original movie, Peter dodges the glider to kill Norman. Here, Peter doesn't wait for a trap. He picks up a pumpkin bomb from Harry's scattered gear and looks at the man who ruined his life. Peter tells Norman he is not his father, just a job. Peter activates the bomb and jams it into the mechanism of Norman's suit before kicking him off the bridge. The explosion illuminates the night sky. The Green Goblin is dead. But Spider-Man does not go to comfort MJ. He stands alone as a dark silhouette against the fire. The aftermath is where this timeline becomes truly dark. Peter doesn't turn himself in or go back to Aunt May. He realizes that with Norman and Harry dead, there is no one left to run Oscorp except him. Norman had made Peter his legal heir in their months of partnership. Peter Parker inherits everything, including the billions, the tech, and the influence. He takes over the company and buries Harry and Norman. He pays off MJ to stay silent and sends Aunt May to a private island for her safety. Peter sits in Norman's chair, looking out over the city. He has the power, the money, and the suit. He isn't a hero or a villain. He is the Kingpin of New York. Years pass as the city becomes clean but turns into a police state run by private Oscorp security and a terrifying vigilante. Rumors spread of a figure that is half spider and half goblin. He doesn't patrol for petty crime anymore. He controls the flow of it. If you want to run a racket in New York, you pay the Spider. Heroes like Daredevil or the Fantastic Four try to intervene, but Peter knows their weaknesses. He has Norman's files and Spider-Man's powers, so he defeats them systematically. The Avengers eventually mark New York as a no-fly zone. Peter Parker achieved what Norman Osborn never could. He brought order to the chaos, but lost his soul to do it. The mask never comes off anymore. This timeline shows us just how fragile Spider-Man's heroism really is. Peter Parker is always one bad day away from becoming a villain. The difference between the hero we know and this monster wasn't superpowers or tragedy, but a simple choice on a rooftop. In our world, he chose responsibility. In this one, he chose power. While he saved the city from chaos, he doomed it to tyranny. It mirrors the character we love and proves that the strongest muscle Spider-Man has is his moral compass. When that breaks, even the greatest hero becomes the world's most dangerous threat. The story of the Goblin Spider is a tragedy about the cost of shortcuts. Peter thought he could use darkness to create light, but the darkness just consumed him. It reminds us that the hard road is usually the right one. If you want to see us explore what would happen if Peter bonded with Carnage instead of Venom, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next multiverse.